Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens Part 183 based on novel. So let's start. Even light disappeared within the dark empty realm. This world was monotonous and lonely. At the same time, it was plagued with much danger. There would occasionally be some surging chaotic spatial flow that could forcefully shatter an expert dozun. Hence, other than the ancient void dragons, which specialized in spatial strength, seldom would any humans or experts from other races enter the empty realm. Of course, this kind of place might be completely remote and deserted to others, but it was quite beneficial for the ancient void dragon tribe. The chaotic spatial flow in this place was not only able to train their control over spatial strength, but they were also able to use the tearing force of the chaotic flow to train their extremely strong physical bodies. Some light suddenly appeared from within the nothingness. If one were to look in the direction of the light, one would see an extremely huge island suspended in the emptiness. Bang bang! Extremely intense energy explosions continued to be emitted from that enormous island. Wave after wave of wild and violent energy attacks began to sweep in all directions from the island like a storm. Everything within 100,000 feet from that island was completely destroyed. There were quite a number of people waiting gravely in the empty space around the island. Sharp eyes swept around the island. Anyone attempting to charge out of the island would be violently smashed down by the storm-like attacks. These troops had formed an airtight dragnet which completely surrounded the island. 20 people were lingering at a certain spot above the island. Their eyes continued to sweep over this group at the middle. A cold and stern-looking strong man was sitting down in the middle of the group. The aura of this person was quite strong. He was even a little stronger than Hei Qing. He was an expert who had reached the 9th change peak of the Dozun class. Swoosh! This large man stared intently at the island below. Suddenly, his ears slightly moved as his eyes swung around the empty space in the distance. His body suddenly stood up as he let out a deep cry, "Be careful! Someone is approaching." A cluster of light suddenly flashed and appeared from deep within the darkness after his last word sounded. It appeared a short distance from the group within a couple of flashes. Hei Qing. They are from the Eastern Dragon Island. Attack. The eyes of the large man were extremely sharp. He managed to identify Hei Qing from within the cluster of lights with a glance. His expression sank as he cried out in a cold voice. Understood. The many human figures cried out in an orderly fashion after hearing his shout. Many powerful energy light pillars shot out. Their combined attack gave them an extremely powerful momentum. Bang! However, a faint voice was emitted while these light pillars approached the cluster of lights. Everyone was horrified to watch those many light pillars explode with a bang. Soon after, a frightening strength that could not be resisted surged out of the empty space and violently struck their bodies. Grug. This attack was undoubtedly an exterminating force for the warriors from these 3 great dragon islands. The armors on those many warriors was shattered into dust. Other than the big man, who had reached the 9th change peak of the Dozun class, the remaining people fell to the dragon island below. Bastard, who exactly are you? The large man's eyes were shocked as he saw their defenses crumbling in the blink of an eye. He quickly let out a low roar. The flowing lights slowly disappeared a short distance in front of the large man. Xiao Yang stepped out from within a light. His eyes did not pause on the large man in front of him. Instead, they swept over the dragon island below. At this moment, the Eastern Dragon Island was filled with holes. Extremely intense battles erupted all over the place. A wild and violent energy caused the entire island to become much dimmer. Although the Dragon Island was in a complete chaos, Xiao Yang could see that the defensive line of the Eastern Dragon Island had shrunk from the outer region to the central Dragon Hall. That location was the middle of the Eastern Dragon Island. In other words, other than the territory around the Dragon Hall, almost 2/3 of the Eastern Dragon Island had been captured by the 3 great Dragon Islands. This situation was quite bad. Where is Zi Yang? Xiao Yang's eyes swept around him, but he did not discover a hint of Zi Yang. He frowned and had just posed a question when an extremely frightening energy ripple was suddenly transmitted over. Xiao Yang's expression was slightly altered upon sensing this energy fluctuation. He lifted his head and looked for the source of this energy fluctuation. He found a bright sun-like light suspended at that spot. It was possible to vaguely see a couple of figures exchanging blows with lightning-like speed. After each exchange, waves of terrifying energy storm would sweep apart. If they weren't some distance from the Dragon Island, these remnant waves would have completely destroyed the eastern Dragon Island. Xiao Yang's eyes stared intently at the circle of light. A flame slowly surged into both of his eyes, allowing his gaze to penetrate through the light and capture everything inside. A somewhat familiar back with long purple hair that emitted a faint enchantment was the first to be imprinted into his sight. Who else could that familiar demeanor belong to other than Zi Yang? However, her current appearance was no longer that of a little girl. Instead, she had become a great beauty. Her tall figure was wrapped within a dark golden form-fitting armor. The armor was not bulky. It pressed against her exquisite and well-proportioned body, outlining her beautiful and sexy curves. The faint temptation hid a bone-piercing chill. The little girl from back then had become such an alluring and bewitching lady. That exquisite face contained an additional cold aura because her eyebrows had been lifted slightly. Although she was still young, it was possible to see a faint aura of authority between her thin eyebrows. Once she fully matured, her demeanor of royalty as the Dragon Emperor of the ancient Void Dragon tribe would frighten anyone looking at her. On the opposite side of Zi Yang stood three figures. The three of them possessed middle-aged appearance. Each and every action they made was domineering, revealing their fierce and overbearing nature. Those are the three great dragon kings, her. Xiao Yang's eyes locked onto the three figures. A grave expression flashed across his eyes. He could sense that those three possessed a strength that surpassed Yarrow Ming. In other words, those three fellows were, at the very least, three-star Doshungs. Zi Yang was holding a long dark golden spear that was taller than her body as she stood within the light sphere. The spear danced and emitted a glaring golden glitter. It had managed to prevent the three great dragon kings from gaining an advantage. Her fighting strength was completely unleashed. It seemed that her dragon phoenix constitution caused her strength to soar. Compared to Xiao Yang, it was likely that she could truly be described as having reached the peak in a single stride. Moreover, this peak was even higher than Xiao Yang. The Dragon Phoenix possessed the bloodline strength of the ancient Void Dragon and the Heaven Phoenix. It was the true ruler of the magical beast world. When a Dragon Phoenix truly reached the peak, this monstrous existence would not need to feel fear even when facing a legendary Do Di. However, that was in the future. It had only been a short period of time since Zi Yang had become Dragon Phoenix. Although her strength had soared during these few years, she still wasn't strong enough to face these three great dragon kings, who were a lot more experienced than her. It was obvious that this stubborn resistance could not last for long. Roar. While Xiao Yang had become absent-minded because of the battle in the distance, the large man from earlier suddenly emitted a dragon roar. You are seeking death. Xiao Yang's eyes turned cold after being awoken by the dragon roar. He threw a palm forward. That large man, whose body was rapidly pulling back, erupted into a cluster of bloody fog. This fellow was sending a message. Many three great Dragon Island experts are hurrying over. Elder Zhu Li spoke in a deep voice. Let's head to the Dragon Hall first. Xiao Yang's eyes flickered. He did indeed see many figures rushing in this direction. Without hesitating, he moved his body and led the way to the Dragon Hall. Yarrow Ming and the others hurriedly followed behind him. Block them. The Dragon Island emitted many loud cries while Xiao Yang's group moved. There were many three great Dragon Island experts in front that were attempting to block Xiao Yang's group. Xiao Yang merely smiled as this obstruction formed. The Do Qi within his body circulated to the limit. He widened his mouth and a sea of flames was spat out. Their frighteningly high temperature caused the expressions of some of the elite Ban Sheng to change. With Xiao Yang's current strength, the strength of his heavenly flame was many times stronger than in the past. A sea of flames had spread by just widening his mouth. If this was in the past, he would have difficulty creating such a great force even if he had drained all of the Do Qi within his body. Xiao Yang waved his hand as the sea of flames blocked the attacks. A fire barrier surrounded his group before they swiftly charged through the sea of flames. They had appeared in the air above the dragon hall within a couple of flashes. "Where have you bastards come from? You dare to intervene in the plans of our 3 great dragon islands?" An thunder-like explosive cry sounded the moment Xiao Yang appeared above the dragon hall. Immediately, a large black-faced man with a giant ape-like body appeared. He had a ferocious expression as he threw a punch toward Xiao Yang. The frightening strength caused the air within 1,000 feet completely vanish in an instant. "Xiao Yang, be careful. He is the first commander of the Western Dragon Island, Shen Mo. He has the strength of a 2-star Do Sheng." Zhu Li's expression slightly changed upon seeing that large black-faced man. He hurriedly cried out in the process. Xiao Yang waved his sleeve. A gentle force delivered everyone to the dragon hall below before he turned his body. His body suddenly swelled and turned into a golden giant that was not inferior to the other party in the blink of an eye. After which, he threw a punch and collided head-on with Shen Mo in front of many shocked pairs of eyes. "Get lost." Xiao Yang's furious thunder-like roar of Xiao suddenly exploded over the sky the moment the clash occurred. 2 strong demon godlike figures suddenly clashed in the sky. A sudden metallic sound was accompanied by a frightening storm as it suddenly swept across the sky. The experts from both parties within 1,000-foot radius were sent flying by the storm. The blood within their bodies violently flowed in the process. The wind erupted and that golden light giant, which Xiao Yang had transformed into, trembled slightly. He took a step back. That large man named Shen Mo on the other side staggered a couple of steps back. Each of his steps collapsed into many dark empty spaces. "Brat, you do have some ability." Surprise flashed across Shen Mo's face after he failing to gain an advantage in this collision. His eyes were a little grave as he looked at Xiao Yang, who was a short distance away, and coldly smiled. Xiao Yang's eyes swept over Shen Mo. His brows were also slightly knit. The strength of the 3 great dragon islands was indeed powerful. Their subordinates also included such a powerful expert. If Xiao Yang had not relied on the King Kong glass body, his strong body that had been refined by many natural treasures, and the Heaven Phoenix essence blood, he would not have been able to gain the upper hand in the physical clash earlier. "Brat, who exactly are you? Tell me your name. The matters of my ancient Void Dragon tribe are not something an ordinary person can interfere with." Shen Mo looked at Xiao Yang as he cried out in a cold voice. Xiao Yang completely ignored Shen Mo's cold cry. His eyes swept to the northwest. 2 figures were hurrying over from the distance with lightning-like speed. They appeared beside Shen Mo within a couple of flashes. At the same time, an ice-cold voice was quickly emitted. "Shen Mo, why are you still wasting your breath? Just attack and capture him. The 3 great dragon kings will likely be victorious soon. Nothing must go wrong before this." The 2 who had appeared in front of Shen Mo was an old man in a green robe and an old man in yellow robe. These 2 appeared extremely old, but their eyes possessed a surging chill. Clearly, they were not merciful people. Xiao Yang's eyes were grave as he studied these 2 old men. His eyelids involuntarily began to twitch. Based on his senses, he could tell that these 2 were a little stronger than Shen Mo. They were at the top of the intermediate 2-star Do Sheng class. "TMPH, are the 3 of you trying to bully our Eastern Shen region because you think that we have no one?" A furious cry was suddenly emitted from the Dragon Hall soon after the 2 old men appeared. Xiao Yang sensed the space around him fluctuate as 2 white-haired old men with unusually sharp eyes appeared. "Xiao Yang, this is the 1st and 2nd elders of our Eastern Dragon Island." Zhu Li hurriedly came over and explained to Xiao Yang who these 2 white-haired old men were. "Greetings to 2 elders." Xiao Yang grinned upon hearing this explanation. He cupped his hands together as he faced the 2 smiling old men. "Little friend Xiao Yang need not be so polite. You are a friend of the Dragon Emperor. Naturally, you are an important guest of our Eastern Dragon Island. You have really helped us this time around. My Eastern Dragon Island will remember this favor." A white-haired old man holding a dragon-shaped walking stick glanced at Xiao Yang as a smile slowly surfaced on his face. His voice was also quite courteous. That green-robed man is the first elder of the Western Dragon Island. He is called Zhu Mu and is an intermediate 2-star dosheng. That yellow-robed old man is the first elder of the Southern Dragon Island. He is called Lai Shan and possesses a similar strength as Zhu Mu. Zhu Li softly informed Xiao Yang. These two people, along with Shen Mo, can be considered the highest-ranking commanders of the 3 Great Dragon Islands other than the 3 Great Dragon Kings. The 3 of them are in charge of the offensive against the Eastern Dragon Island. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. His heart was a little shaken. 3 2-star doshengs was a lineup that an ordinary faction could not take out. The ancient Void Dragon tribe was indeed worthy of being the strongest tribe in the magical beast world. Moreover, this was a situation where they had separated. If they ended up unifying, they would not be inferior to the Hun clan, the Jiyu clan, or the other super factions. Old man Qing Shan, are all of you going to continue this stubborn resistance after things have developed to this stage? You should be aware that by continuing to resist, the strength of the Eastern Dragon Island will be completely exhausted. That green-robed first elder from the Western Dragon Island looked at the old man holding a walking stick and coldly laughed. My Eastern Dragon Island will not allow you traitors, who have forgotten the rules of the tribe, to continue on, even if we have to exhaust our last man. The Eastern Dragon Island's first elder, who was addressed as Qing Shan, rolled his eyes and spoke in a faint voice. I will see just whether your tongue will remain this tough after the 3 Dragon Kings finish off your Dragon Emperor. The first elder Zhu Mu from the Western Dragon Island laughed and said, if we count the time, the reinforcements sent by the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will likely be arriving soon. At that time, the old me shall see just how you are going to resist. Shameless fellow. The ancient Void Dragon and the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe are enemies. You have even forgotten such a hatred. You are unworthy of being a tribal member of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Back then, the Dragon Emperor had spent effort grooming all of you. Your consciousness has all been eaten by dogs. The second elder from the Eastern Dragon Island grit his teeth and furiously cursed. The expressions of Shen Mo's group became slightly unnatural after hearing the second elder mention the Dragon Emperor. They finally replied a moment later, the Dragon Emperor has been missing for thousands of years. It is likely that he is no longer in this world. As for the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, we will finish them off once we unify. The ancient Void Dragon tribe has been separated for too long. It must be united as soon as possible, yet all of you are blocking the unification. What gibberish! The Dragon Emperor is the one who possesses the true royal bloodline. The 3 Great Dragon Kings are partially related if that, yet you dare to proclaim the unification of the ancient Void Dragon tribe? It was because of their selfish desires that they separated the ancient Dragon clan back then. First Elder Qing Mu chided. Xiao Yang by the side gained an understanding of the situation after hearing this exchange between the two sides. All of the members of the ancient Void Dragon tribe wanted unification, but all of them had different ideas. Hence, this had eventually resulted in the eruption of this big war. You need not wait for the members of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. I coincidentally met them along the way and sent them packing. Xiao Yang did not wish to understand the differences in opinion within the ancient dragon tribe. The only thing that he understood was that he had an extremely deep relationship with Zi Yang. On the other hand, he did not have a good impression of the 3 Great Dragon Kings. He would naturally choose Zi Yang. He grabbed the area below with his hand. A human figure appeared in it. It was the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe's Qin Huang. What? Both parties were startled upon hearing Xiao Yang's words. They hurriedly shifted their eyes and caught sight of Qin Huang, who was in a sealed state. You bastard! How dare you ruin the plans of our 3 Great Island? Shen Mo stared at Xiao Yang as he furiously cried out. You too, why are you still wasting your breath with him? Attack and flatten this dragon hall. Aye. The Western and Southern Dragon Islands' first elders nodded slowly upon hearing this order. Their mouths emitted a dragon roar. Soon after, hundreds of lights came rushing over from a short distance away. They stopped in the air above the dragon hall. The 10 people leading this group possessed an extremely frightening aura. They had all reached the Ban Sheng class. The remaining people were mostly above 5th star of the Dozun class. Roar. Many dragon roars were emitted from the dragon hall below after seeing the experts from the 3 great dragon islands gather together. Immediately, the rushing sound of wind appeared. Many figures appeared behind Xiao Yang in an orderly fashion. Their eyes ruthlessly looked at the large group of people in the distance. The Do Qi within their bodies began to rapidly circulate. The atmosphere of the entire area became extremely tense as the experts from both parties stepped forward. Bang! A loud and clear energy explosion was suddenly emitted in the distant space while both parties were facing each other. This sudden explosion also shattered the face-off. Many powerful auras began to charge into the sky. Charge! The experts from both parties seemed to have become ferocious tigers that had descended the mountains with low and deep roars. All of them rushed forward. In an instant, the entire place turned into a complete chaos. An intense chaotic battle erupted. Bang bang bang. The battle that erupted caused one to feel dazzled. Although the number of experts from the 3 great dragon islands was much greater than the Eastern Dragon Island, it was clearly not easy to swiftly swallow the fighting strength of the Eastern Dragon Island. Hence, the battle descended into a seesaw-like stalemate after the battle erupted. Bang! Xiao Yang's palm struck an expert who had reached the peak of the Dozun class, forcing the expert to spit out blood and retreat. His body quickly moved as he appeared beside the expert Dozun. After which, he grabbed the Dozun's hand and used him as a weapon in front of many shocked eyes. He violently smashed this peak Dozun into an elite Ban Sheng. The frightening force caused the arm of this peak Dozun class expert to explode. At the same time, the expert struck the elite Ban Sheng until the Ban Sheng spat out blood and flew backwards. Xiao Yang suddenly lifted his head after sending that Ban Sheng flying. His eyes looked to the empty space in the distance. The battleground there was the most important one. Its end result would determine the outcome of this ancient dragon tribe's war and would decide the final victor. However, the situation in that light cluster caused Xiao Yang's heart to sink. Zi Yang was tiring. She was being pushed back by the combined attacks of the 3 dragon kings. 2 elders, Tribal Chief Yaroming will help the both of you deal with Xian Mo and the other 2. I will help Zi Yang. Xiao Yang's eyes suddenly became sharp as he exhaled a deep breath of air. His mouth emitted a stern howl. A pair of huge green-red bone wings spread apart. Block him. Xian Mo and the other 2 first elders were immediately startled upon seeing Xiao Yang move. Before they could give chase, Yaroming and the first and second elders from the Eastern Dragon Island hurried over and blocked them. Xiao Yang's bone wings were flapped the moment this clash occurred. A wind lightning sound appeared. His body rushed out of the Eastern Dragon Island with lightning-like speed as he hurried towards the battleground in the empty space. 3 great dragon kings, I wish to see just how frightening all of you are. The long dark golden spear was just like a furious roaring dragon that cut a bright arc in the emptiness before it ruthlessly smashed into the hand of a middle-aged man with a crown over his head. His hand had transformed into a claw. The frightening force shattered a great amount of scales on the dragon claw. The moment that long spear left that delicate and beautiful figure, another figure began to approach in a ghost-like fashion. An extremely sharp palm wind unhesitatingly and mercilessly slammed toward the beautiful figure. The owner of that beautiful figure narrowed her eyes when she sensed this sneak attack. Her sharp nose emitted a low cold snort. With a shake of her arm, that long spear seemed to be connected to a chain as it was instantly swung in a soul-stirring arc, forming a semisphere that heavily struck the sharp palm wind. The powerful force erupted and the 2 were forced to stagger back before they finally stabilized their bodies. Ha ha, it is indeed worthy of being the Dragon Phoenix constitution. Its strength is actually this powerful. This failed surprise attack caused the man to involuntarily let out some praise. He laughed. Niece Zi Yang. Why do you need to continue this stubborn resistance? Although you possess the extremely rare Dragon Phoenix constitution, you have yet to mature. You are really being too naive if you are thinking of fighting the 3 of us alone. Western Dragon King, you should stop acting in front of me. The 3 of you had taken advantage of my father's disappearance to split the ancient Void Dragon tribe, resulting in the current state of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. It is not too much to say that the three of you are the sinners of this tribe. Zhi Yang's face was dark as a chill spread from her pale purple eyes with a laugh. The three of us also possess the royal bloodline. It is only logical for us to proclaim ourselves kings. Since when can a young fellow like you reprimand us? A somewhat shader-looking middle-aged man coldly stated. Niece Zhi Yang, the losses from the internal conflict within the ancient dragon tribe have been far too severe. Why can't you take a step back and avoid this battle? There was a man in royal robes among the trio. This person always had a smile hanging on his face, giving one a good impression since he always appeared extremely friendly. However, only those who were familiar with him were aware that this Northern Dragon King was the most frightening among the three great dragon kings. Not only did he scheme a ton, but he would also use all means to achieve his aims. The suggestion to work with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe had been made by him. Zhi Yang glared at the Northern Dragon King with great dislike. This person was the person who would stab someone in the back. Back then, the other two Dragon Kings were tempted by him to separate from the ancient dragon tribe. This eventually led to them carrying out the split that greatly damaged the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Do you think you are worthy of having the royal bloodline of the ancient dragon? The ancient dragon tribe will really be finished if it ends up in your hand. Zhi Yang knit her brows. Her entire being was filled with a dark aura as she coldly cried out. The Northern Dragon King smiled upon hearing her words. He softly said, "Since niece Zhi Yang is so stubborn, I can only capture you by force. Once you witness the prosperity of our ancient dragon tribe in the future, you will naturally understand what I am doing now is correct. We should attack. Do not continue to delay. The situation might end up changing." The Western Dragon King and Southern Dragon King hesitated for a moment after hearing the Northern Dragon King's voice. After which, they violently nodded. "Do you think that I am afraid of you just because your numbers are greater?" Zhi Yang's face became gloomy after she saw the three of them were preparing to attack together again. Her body moved and she pulled back. A pair of 1,000-foot-large phoenix wings spread from her back. Those phoenix wings were flapped and a frightening strength rose from them. Attack! These wings caused the Northern Dragon King to frown. A cold cry sounded and his body took the lead in rushing forward. The Western and Southern Dragon Kings followed close behind him. Yellow spring finger, yellow spring palm. Their bodies had just begun moving when an explosive cry suddenly resounded from empty space. A large finger and palm suddenly descended from the sky and ruthlessly smashed toward the trio. "Who are you, little thief? How dare you interfere in the matters of my ancient Void Dragon tribe?" This sudden attack also caused the three Dragon Kings to be startled. They quickly waved their sleeves and a frightening force shot out with lightning-like speed before shattering the yellow spring finger and the yellow spring palm. The trio immediately turned their icy eyes after shattering the palm and finger. Their eyes finally paused on a skinny figure who was flapping a pair of green-red bone wings. This figure remained suspended in the air a short distance from them. "Brat, are you asking to die?" Upon seeing their attacker, a chill flashed across the Southern Dragon King's eyes as he cried out. "Xiao Yang." Zhi Yang, who was flapping her 1,000-foot-large phoenix wings, was also startled because of this figure. Her pretty eyes slid over as a joy quickly flashed over them. Soon after, that joy changed into worry as she cried out loud, "Xiao Yang, what are you doing here? You are no match for them. Withdraw now." With Zhi Yang's current strength, she was naturally able to see through Xiao Yang's strength at a glance, an advanced one-star dosheng. Although this improvement speed was already quite shocking, the opponents this time around were the renowned three great dragon kings of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. "How long do you need?" Xiao Yang ignored Zhi Yang's cry. All he did was pose a question. He could tell that Zhi Yang was preparing a powerful strike. Clearly, this required a lot of time to prepare. Zhi Yang was startled upon hearing his question. She gently clenched her teeth before answering Xiao Yang. 10 minutes. Leave them to me." Xiao Yang gently exhaled and softly replied. "You." Zhi Yang knit her brows. She looked at the somewhat skinny back. The three great dragon kings were the top experts on the continent. The Western and Southern Dragon Kings had all become advanced 3-star doshengs. That Northern Dragon King was even stronger. He already had half a foot in the 4th star of the Dosheng class. If the three of them were to cooperate, even an initial 4-star Dosheng would not be able to fight with them. Even less needed to be said for Xiao Yang, who was an advanced 1-star Dosheng. What arrogant word! The Western Dragon King coldly snorted. An advanced 1-star Dosheng class expert might appear very strong in the eyes of others, but it was difficult for someone of this strength to stir any trouble in front of them. Xiao Yang was without expression. He completely ignored the other party's mockery. Both of his hands were swiftly placed together. After which, many extremely complicated hand seals were formed. At the same time, the spiritual strength on his brow began to stir. Do not drag things out with him. All three of us will attack together. The Northern Dragon King frowned. His naturally cautious self was unwilling to take a risk. Even though the other party was merely a 1-star Dosheng, he still insisted that the three of them fight with all their strength and kill him before dealing with Zi Yang. The Western and Southern Dragon Kings curled their mouths upon hearing these words. They felt some disdain for the cautiousness of the Northern Dragon King, but they did not utter anything or argue with him. Their three bodies rushed out at the same time. Sharp lethal attacks whistled toward Xiao Yang. Kai Kai. The seals formed by Xiao Yang's hands changed with lightning-like speed. At the same time, his spiritual strength suddenly erupted from his brow. It turned into a 1,000-foot large illusory figure that wrapped around his body. That illusory figure abruptly opened its huge mouth after the seals were formed. A strange and frightening ripple erupted from its mouth like a storm. Yellow Spring Divine Anger. Mao. Xiao Yang was clearly aware of the vast difference in strength between him and the three great dragon kings. It was impossible for him to even endure 5 minutes in a head-on clash. Hence, he had unleashed the only Tian-class high-level Do skill that he had practiced, the Yellow Spring Divine Anger. After the strange sound was emitted from the enormous illusory figure's mouth, the empty realm seemed to have instantly quietened down. A moment later, the expressions of the three great dragon kings began to gradually change. They had discovered the frightening sonic wave attack that came from all directions at this moment. Spiritual attack. Be careful. The face of the Northern Dragon King was covered with a grave expression. He had not expected Xiao Yang to unleash a spiritual attack. The physical bodies of the ancient Void Dragon tribe might be extremely powerful, but they were still magical beasts. Spiritual strength was the weakness of magical beasts. Fortunately, there were not many experts in the current Dochi continent who knew how to use spiritual strength to attack. However, not many did not mean that they did not exist. An example was Xiao Yang. Buzz. The empty realm began to tremble at this moment. Let's join hands. The Northern Dragon King immediately sensed a giddy feeling be emitted from his head after the sonic wave was transmitted into his ear. He explosively cried out and the three of them gathered together. That frightening sonic attack had arrived before they could completely circulate their Do Chi. That frightening attacking speed had caused Xiao Yang to suffer a great loss before. This time around, he had caught the three Dragon Kings off guard. They did not have much time to defend against that frightening speed. Bang! The spiritual assault quickly arrived and disappeared just as quickly. The bodies of the three Dragon Kings emitted a deep muffled sound the moment the sonic wave penetrated their bodies. Grug! The three stiffened bodies solidified for a moment. Both the faces of the Western and Southern Dragon Kings immediately paled. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. The intense pain of being sliced by a blade continued to be emitted from their minds, causing them to gain the impulse to tear off their heads. Little bastard, I will tear you apart while you're still alive. The Northern Dragon King's condition was slightly better, but his face was also a little pale. His eyes were extremely ferocious as they looked at Xiao Yang, who was a short distance away. His eyes were filled with a brutalness and a murderous intent. Xiao Yang's solemn face revealed a grin as he looked at the vicious eyes of those three individuals. The seal formed by his hands changed. He widened his mouth and a faint voice was slowly emitted, explode. The eyes of the Northern Dragon King shrank the moment his voice was emitted. It was as though he had detected something. He turned his head abruptly, only to see another Xiao Yang appearing a couple of meters behind. At this moment, there was a fire lotus consisting of 5 different colors in the hand of Xiao Yang. This fire lotus was slowly rotating. That Xiao Yang lifted his head the moment they turned theirs. He gave them a mysterious smile. That beautiful 5-colored fire lotus exploded like a beautiful fireworks in his hands. This video will end here.